Hello everybody, it's Dirk again. It's been a while, I know. Apologies for that. I had not anticipated having such a long break. But as I'm sure that you might be able to understand, coming out of training and going through that whole process of starting up into this trucking industry and getting assigned your first truck, and in my case I went directly onto a dedicated account, so I'm pulling for Walmart, and in doing that, obviously when you start doing that, it's quite a bit. It's quite a bit to learn and take on and get familiarized with. So not only do you have all of the new processes and procedures and terminology and all of that good stuff for your trucking company, in my case Schneider, you also now have to learn what I would call Walmart speak, which would be true of any company. All companies have their own, kind of a corporate culture, their own way of doing things, their own way of talking about stuff, expressing stuff, their own terminology. So all of that stuff all at once is quite a bit to bite off. Not that it's problematic, not that it's impossible or anything like that, of course. It's just a lot. It's a lot to keep focused on and concentrate on. Of course, you want to do a good job. You don't want to forget anything. So I decided it would be most prudent for me to set aside the YouTube fame and fortune, and my adoring fans, all 12 of you, would just have to hopefully sit tight and wait and let me focus my attention on the job at hand. So that's what I've been doing. I have been doing nothing but focusing on this job, on this account, on the truck, becoming better at maneuvering and handling the truck, just basically becoming good at the job. That's been my absolute top focus. And of course, safety, that goes without saying. So yeah, what I have been doing is essentially that. And of course, in that, there's a whole lot of little minutia. There's a whole lot of stuff. A lot of stuff that's been happening and has happened, and stuff I've experienced and all of that. Yeah, to go back and try and rehash through all of it would be more than my old brain can handle. But suffice it to say, it's been good. The whole experience has been good. I have to say, Schneider's been fantastic. There are a few key people that I have kept close at hand, and they are absolutely always available, and as nice as they could be. I mean, everybody wants you to succeed, and that's a nice thing. And I do feel legitimately, and this is not an ad for Schneider by any means, but I do legitimately feel like, in spite of them being a, quote-unquote mega carrier and all of that, the people within that mega carrier, those are the people that, that you touch, that you, I mean, not literally, but those are the people that you interrelate with. So even though Schneider has tens of thousands of employees and drivers and all of that good stuff, I have a small handful of people within that monster organization that I deal directly with. And those people, perhaps I'm very lucky, whatever the case, or perhaps it's system-wide, I don't know. But those people have been very, very good people, and continue to be really good people, and I'm really happy about that. Quite grateful for it. So I've had a lot of great support. I've got people there, multiple people that can answer questions for me when they come up. My plan of attack has not changed since I started into training, and that was that I wanted to come in and just be an open book, listen more than I speak, and absorb everything I can from everyone. Does that mean that everybody is 100% correct and that you should do it 100% their way? Absolutely not. Everybody's got their own slightly different way of doing things and handling things, and I've learned in my lifetime, at least for me, the smartest approach is to be a fly on the wall and just take in as much info as you can and consider everybody's opinion and consider everybody's approach and how they do things. And then find out what seems most logical to you and what works for you, and incorporate that into your practice. And that's exactly what I've done. So, like a pre-trip inspection for one thing. Schneider has a very definite way of doing a pre-trip inspection, which is a good thing. They want you to do it exactly the same every single time, and that way it becomes a habit. And it just becomes part of your routine. After a while, you don't think about what you need to do, you just do it. And there's a tremendous logic in that. And a pre-trip is a very important thing. So, that being said, though, when you get into like the exact order of things on the list, that is something that you can kind of custom tailor to what works for you. So, according to what they've printed and the list that they have, there are some things that I just do one thing before another thing a little bit differently, because why? It works for me. And because it works for me, it's more likely to stick in my brain and more likely to be something that I won't forget. So, kudos to Schneider for knowing that about human psychology, and they're fine with that. As long as you're hitting all the bases, they're good with it. So anyway, I digress. There's been a lot happening, a lot of getting used to. Like I said, in the meantime, my driving skills have definitely improved. I'm still of the mindset that this is a kind of a job, kind of like the game of golf. You never truly master it. You just get better over time and get better over time, and hopefully don't tee one off into the water. Because in trucking terms, that would be really bad. But yeah, I'm more comfortable, and that also keeps me on alert, because I know that once people, again, human nature, when you get comfortable doing something, you can sometimes become a little bit less focused than you should be. So I've made it a conscious effort that even though the driving and all of the maneuvering and stuff has become more natural to me, I still make sure that I'm absolutely as vigilant and careful as I was from day one. And that's important, because as soon as you let your guard down, that's when stuff happens. But things like backing, I've gotten actually quite good at it. And of course, now that I've said that, if I ever put it on video, which I will, I'll screw it up completely. But that's okay. As long as you don't hit anything and damage anything or kill somebody, you're fine. If you go to set up to back in somewhere and you don't quite set up right and you don't quite make it pretty, as long as you haven't hit anything and as long as you haven't damaged anything or hurt anybody, it's all good. Just recalibrate, reset yourself, and try it again. And that's the mindset that you have to have. You just have to know going in that, yeah, you're going to screw stuff up. Yeah, things aren't going to go as planned when you try to back the truck up. And that's okay. You have to learn this stuff, and you have to get a feel for it, and that happens over, a lot of repetition. So anyway, didn't want to get long-winded. Just wanted to say hello and let you know what's going on. I do plan on trying something new. I got some GoPro cameras. I'm recording this on a GoPro, and this center camera is going to be one that I can actually turn towards me, or I can turn facing towards the road and hopefully get some road video. But I also, excuse me, I also have two other GoPros, and I have one mounted on either side outside, and I've got them set up kind of like as little rear view mirrors. And one of the concepts that I had all the way from the beginning that I always wanted to try and do was to try and do kind of a split screen video where I could have the center of the screen be what the driver sees out the front windshield, but then also have flanking video running simultaneously of the left-hand, driver's side rear view mirror and the passenger curbside mirror, on either side of that, forward-looking one, because that could give somebody who doesn't drive and who's interested, that might give you kind of a perspective on what we drivers see when we're backing these trucks up and why it's so difficult. So I think I've got it set up properly now. I'm going to test it. I'm going to test it today, and we'll see how it turns out. And hopefully good. If not, I'll just keep tweaking around until I find a good setup. But going forward, I kind of like to do that, and just kind of put myself on the spot. Like if I'm backing in somewhere, I'm not going to sit there and edit all the mistakes out. Screw that. If there are mistakes, I want them in there, and I want people to see, how easy it is for the trailer to start wandering somewhere where you don't want it to. So that's my concept anyway. Hopefully it'll work, and we'll see.